Hello, good morning, and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. You joined me home here in Colorado in Fort Collins with my Tesla Model S. And today, a big upgrade that I've been really looking forward to is happening. I am switching out the Yoke steering wheel for the round steering wheel now offered by Tesla. I'll talk you through how I came to this decision, how I decided this was the way I wanted to go. And even the geese are excited about it over here. They're cackling away. So let's go for it. We're going to go for our last drive with the Yoke wheel. I'll give you my final thoughts. I think some of you might actually be surprised about how I feel about the Yoke. And then we'll go through the upgrade process with a Tesla service mobile technician coming out to my house to replace the wheel. Hopefully that goes smoothly. And that'll be that. So let's get into it. And here it is. Some of you might be familiar with this car, but this is my 2022 Tesla Model S Plaid. It's actually just kicked over 10,000 miles. I've had it for about a year, and I'll do a full in-depth year-long ownership update because it has been eventful. And we have had some great upgrades to the car so far. We have the Martian MW05 wheels, which I just think every Model S needs. This thing looks so good on the MW05s. These are the 20 by 10 inch models, square setup, 295 section front and rear tires, and it handles great because we have finally some good rubber on the front. The car is so balanced, even a little bit oversteery, which I prefer. It's been fun on track. We have videos of us taking this around High Plains Raceway and plenty more to come, especially now that the round wheel is coming on. But we also have the big brakes from Mountain Pass Performance, upgraded brake fluid. I did the front and rear steel brake kit from Mountain Pass. We have some Mountain Pass suspension to go on the car, so it's going to be dialed in for sort of track day season coming up. And really, to complete everything, we needed a round wheel. Now, the round wheel actually isn't so much for the track use, and I'll talk about that. It's actually more for daily driving for me. And, it's just sort of part of that situation. I want to see what it's like to go from a round wheel or go from a Yoke to the round wheel. I think it should be pretty interesting. Unfortunately, someone just recently backed into the Model S in a parking lot in Phoenix, Arizona, and you can see the damage right here. And I think that's such a bummer. And no, of course, I didn't have Sentry mode on, and I was in a rush and couldn't get all of the info. I saw the car the night before. I'm pretty sure I know who did it, but at this point, there's no way I'd be able to track them down. So I got to find a good body shop in the Fort Collins area to do some paint. I was talking to Colton about it from Out of Spec Detailing, and he said, no, man, it's through the paint. It's going to need some work. And that's that. So that's on the list to do very, very soon to get that sorted. But other than that, I took it to Tesla for service recently in Loveland. And in the same day, they fixed a whole bunch of issues that I had with the car. A lot of squeaks, a lot of rattles, a lot of just weird, different things. I gave them a list, and they pretty much fixed all of them in like 5 hours. I mean, it was one of the most impressive service experiences I've ever had. And yeah, so I think the car's finally now getting dialed in exactly where I need it to be. And I'm just so excited to drive it now with the round wheel. So let's talk about the process, the pricing, and then we'll go for a drive for the last time and then for the first time with the round wheel. So some of you have been following the saga of the round wheel situation, know that I'm not a Yoke hater. If you like the Yoke, drive what you like. I don't think it's actually safer to have a Yoke. That some people say that. I don't get that. But I'm not in the camp that thinks it's like the most dangerous thing on the planet and, you should be banned from using a Yoke. Look, at the end of the day, I think I never once was fearing for my safety with the Yoke. It just wasn't a pleasant experience nearly as much as, using a round wheel. And I'll talk about that when we go for a drive a little bit more. But ever since I drove my friend Ryan's car with a round wheel, and I made a video with that, which will be linked in the description, I knew I wanted to have a Model S Plaid with a circular steering wheel that I could work around and slide the car around and use it in a performance setting with full confidence. And Ryan was saying I should do the same thing that he did to his car, which is buy a Model 3 steering wheel and then retrofit the stalks, the turn signal and the gear selector stalks, because everything in this is capacitive touch and it's pretty weird. And well, that was the plan, but just about when we were about to go through with it, Tesla announced that they were offering a round steering wheel in new Model S and X production as an option, as well as a retrofit for existing owners. And I thought, well, that's going to be a lot more useful to our audience. So let me go with that upgrade. If for whatever reason I hate the Tesla upgrade, then we can go down the Model 3 route with the stocks later on. But I think I'm going to be okay with this. And the price was, for a brand new steering wheel, I think actually pretty reasonable. I was just looking at the price of like Mercedes S-Class steering wheels, and they are like $3,000 or somewhere around there, especially if you get the wood in there and some other stuff. This was $700 installed. They come to my house and do it. That to me seems pretty reasonable for a new steering wheel plus free installation. So that's just my take on it. I'd be curious to see what you think. Granted, I spent $150,000 on this car. This is before they lowered the price, and now I have to spend another $750, including tax, to get a round steering wheel. I mean, that seems a little bit crazy, but welcome to 2023 and the way Tesla works. So let's go for our last drive with the Yoke. I'll share my thoughts, and then we will go through the installation process of the Tesla wheel, and then of course I'll take you for my first drive with it. Well, you joined me in the Model S now with the Yoke wheel for what is my last drive with this. I've now done 10,000 miles with this wheel, and I have to say it's physically starting to feel like it's peeling, especially in this bottom left-hand corner. I'm pretty sure someone must have gotten into the car and nicked it on the way in and kind of sheared a little piece off, because it's just so squared off at the bottom. But let's go for a drive. I can just automatically goes into drive when I put my foot on the brake because it knows I need to go forwards. That works like 95% of the time really well. The problem comes from when it doesn't work the last 5% of the time, and sometimes I'm going backwards when I go forwards, and I'm just like, what the heck is going on here? So yeah, we'll just wait for this cross traffic to go by, and then we will gently pull out. Now, I haven't driven the Model S Plaid much in recent times, mostly because we've been testing cars and a lot's been going on, and to be totally honest, this Yoke wheel has bugged me. But before I sort of explain that, I just want to talk a little bit about why it's bugged me, because it's not probably for reasons that you think. I'm not an instant Yoke hater, if you will. Also, I want to mention, I don't know if you can hear this low-level deep vibration rumbling through the cabin, but for the first mile or two of driving every day, the rear motor feels like it has no lubricant in it. It just feels like it's grinding itself a little bit. Deep bass of grinding noises. And then after about a mile, like when fluid gets circulated through, it's totally fine. Now, I know this is not the only Model S Plaid or Model X Plaid experiencing this issue. Other cars are also having this weird vibration. I've noticed in the forums, and some viewers have commented their cars are doing the same thing. So we really need to figure out what's going on here, because it honestly is a bit annoying to drive the car in the mornings like this. But to the Yoke. The Yoke doesn't bug me so much in performance driving, which is when most people think that I have an issue with it. I think if I was to slide the car around and I have it in drift mode and I'm on, let's say, a little IMI circuit here in Colorado, which is like a little drift track where we film some videos sometimes, I haven't had this car out there, my confidence level doing big slides in this car would be decreased by having the Yoke, because I just not, you can't always grab it consistently. But when I was taking it around High Plains Raceway, when we were doing big speeds and just kind of balancing the car on the edge and just working it around, the Yoke wasn't actually a limitation, because the angle of steering movement was relatively low. I never had to go across 180 degrees of wheel input, and it honestly was like kind of fun having the Yoke. I definitely was like, this is odd, moving my hands more or less up and down rather than around with a round wheel, but it wasn't so much of an issue for me, I would say. Where it becomes an issue for me is actually in the daily driving stuff. It's like kind of for right now when I want to make a right turn here and I want to move the wheel. And there is something to me, which I know I'm really weird because I'm a car nerd, but there's something really, I don't know if the word is premium or just satisfying about working around steering wheel when driving. I'm sort of a steering wheel nerd. Some of you who know me personally know I love to keep my steering wheels uber clean, because to me that's the interaction point or the touch point with the car. And the steering wheel is such an important bit, and I replace steering wheels as they age, which I'm just doing to my smart car now. It's 4 or 5 years old, it's starting to get a little greasy, time to put a new wheel on it. And the Yoke doesn't give me that satisfying feeling driving around town because I can't work around thing. Also, this car has FSD beta on it, which means that at times it's making right and left turns on its own. And I'm here to monitor and keep my hands on the wheel. Well, occasionally the system gets confused and messes up, and we have videos of it doing that. And to actually take over when this big rectangle spinning in front of you is actually not the easiest thing on the planet. It's so much easier with a round wheel to let it slide through my hands. This is what I'm expecting with FSD beta when I put the round wheel on. So to sort of sum up my feelings on the Yoke on my last drive, the performance driving is not why I hate it. It's actually all of the normal day-to-day stuff. The tight parking situations I've gotten used to pulling around, that's cool, but I don't know why I would have to get used to a steering wheel when the circular one worked better for me. I mean, really, the final thought is this improves nothing to me. It only takes away certain things. Now, you might say, well, what about the visibility of the screen? Well, yeah, certain cars definitely do block a screen, but I can just move my head left or right to see auxiliary gauges on the side, which is totally, a thing like Porsche, for example. The wheel always blocks the gauges in that car, in all of their newer cars with the multiple gauges that go out. But you just move your head around, and then you can see them. And like the main stuff that you need to see is right in front of you. And that's honestly how Tesla is set up as well. Even with a round wheel, I would be able to see the speed just fine and most of the instruments that I would need to know about. And I don't really think the visibility is much of a concern for me. I've driven my friend Ryan Huber's Model S with a round steering wheel. And this was my original plan, was to put on the round Model 3 steering wheel with the stocks. I actually have the Model 3 steering wheel at my house. I bought a wheel, a heated one, to work with this, and Ryan was going to send me the stocks and all that stuff. And a couple things happened. One, I think Ryan got busy and didn't have time to send everything over, which is totally fine. But the stock situation, I was waiting to come in, because you also need a controller to hook into the CAN system of the car so that you can basically fool it that your controller inputs are doing something else, which is not what the car's built for from the ground up, but it was a hack and it worked, and I thought it was really cool. And I have a whole video that I'll leave linked in the description, driving the Model S with the Model 3 wheel and the stocks. That is actually what made me order the Plaid. That is what set the seed in my head that said, this car, and it was a black on white Model S Plaid, this car is truly mega. It is a mega car. It's so incredibly fast. For the age of the chassis, it handles so incredibly well. And now that I had this round wheel, I had the confidence to actually push the car and drive the car hard on a back road. And to me, that was just the perfect combination for what I was looking for. And now it's finally time where hopefully I get to have that same experience in my car going with the factory retrofit. So what I'll do now is the mobile tech should be at my home momentarily. We'll run over there. We will film some of the install process, look at the wheel. I'm going to try and keep this existing Yoke as well for, I don't know, maybe I'll run it over. I don't know what this improves, truly. And, one of the most unfortunate things about this is, I'll go over everything other than this in a moment, but the capacitive buttons to activate features on this car, most major downsides of it. The horn is over here, this little button over here, which makes no sense. I can't just hit the horn in the middle. And the turn signals are kind of a little bit annoying on the left side of the wheel. And that does not change with this new wheel. So I'm really solving half of my problems, but I can get over the buttons and the touch things. Also, I can't go left and right track with my left scroll wheel. This is broken, and I brought it into Tesla twice now, and they haven't been able to verify that this is broken. So we're getting a new wheel, so I don't have to worry about that anymore, because every time I've got to go next track, I got to go over here and hit the button. And I guess it magically just works every time I bring it in for service. So the buttons I can get over in daily driving. What I'm really looking forward to is just having a car I enjoy to pilot around. I can work the wheel. I can have the Rolls-Royce driving position with my hands in the corners, and it doesn't really feel like a rectangle. And I'm so pumped. I really think it's going to transform the car. I hope it doesn't let me down. But let's see what happens. Let's go film the install. I'm going to swing by Starbucks right here. Then we're going to run home, meet the mobile service tech. And it's actually the first time I've ever had Tesla mobile service. So let's see how this goes. And guys, check this out. Jasmine rolled up in this sick Model X P100D Ludicrous. If you need Tesla service, she'll be ripping to you in no time. Looks like she's got the snow tires on this thing as well. Really a great, awesome service. Actually, my first time experiencing Tesla mobile service before. They have these things fully kitted out with, you know, rear seats removed and all of this stuff. Jasmine's got the horn going, but look at this. This is the round wheel that she's going to put onto my car here momentarily. Looks really nice. Looking forward to seeing it. The process really will go, basically, she's going to remove the existing Yoke steering wheel. She's got her Milwaukee tools cranking away, airbag out. It comes with a new wheel and new airbag. She's going to check to make sure that there's new firmware perhaps on the car as a configuration change. I believe there probably will be, so does she. And then she's going to bolt it back together. I mean, it seems like a pretty simple, quick thing, and we're both looking forward to seeing how it goes. It's the first retrofit that they've done up here. Could be possibly the first retrofit in the country. We're not sure, but it's very early days. And yeah, amazing service just right here in the driveway, and Jasmine is great. And now you join me in the Model S with a round wheel. I just want to say, before I comment on the wheel, a huge shout out to Jasmine, who came over here. She was freaking awesome. Worked at Tesla for years and decided to get out of California and move here to Colorado. She's now rolling around in a P100D Ludicrous and just unbelievably knowledgeable at the cars. We had such a good time. We spent, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes just geeking out about different electric cars. She was looking at the Rivian. We were talking about the wheel and all of this stuff. And she's so knowledgeable about the different communication systems in the car and the software that they use to change configuration. And truly, Tesla has some of the best employees out there. And Jasmine, if you're watching this video, I know I told you I'd send the link. Thank you for coming out to the house and just being so awesome. You were great. And the installation went very smoothly, very quick. And it was great chatting. So really, really fun. Now the wheel, it's huge. You know, the Model 3 wheel on this car is, you know, when I was driving Ryan's Model S, it's much smaller and much more nimble. And to me, I like that wheel a lot. I like the Model 3 wheel, but it felt a little bit too small for the Model S. When I drive EQS or one of these cars, they have big wheels. And I think the reason we're starting to see big wheels in cars is honestly for the driver assistance monitoring. There needs to be enough space for the cameras to see your face. And Mercedes definitely is the reason BMW has a big wheel as well. This is big. And what's crazy is I can see the entire instrument cluster, no problem. And the wheel's kind of where I want it. It honestly feels like it comes out even a little bit farther than the Yoke did, and the leather quality feels the same as the Yoke. And like new Model 3, it's not the best quality, but I have no major complaints with it. And it's still got the same silly buttons, and my left track and next track works perfectly. How about that? Headlights working great. Horn working great. I wonder if I do the thing where I press and hold. Yes. Why does it go quick honk when I do that? I don't know, but I do that one quite a bit. I guess my autopilot control should work the same here. Wipers, all good. And then my voice command, which I never use, is right here in the bottom right. So that, all the functions work. The center bit is still not a horn, but it almost feels like there's a little switch or a tiny bit of movement in here where it could activate a horn potentially one day. The vane in the steering wheel is still here. And it is a different airbag than the Yoke, by the way. And she did not leave me with the airbag. I wanted to blow that up. But she did leave me with the Yoke, the original Yoke. And so here it is. And I guess I won't be needing this anymore. But I'll probably hang it on the wall or drive over it with a Cybertruck that doesn't exist or something. I don't know. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, let's go for our first drive. And instantly, all I want to do is just put it in drive with the stock. I think it's a nice motion. But the car, again, like it did this morning, put itself into drive. I'm just going to pull up the steering wheel controls. Everything in the UI is still showing a Yoke. Interesting, it thinks the hazard lights are going on and off this van in front of me, which they're not. I didn't even know it would recognize that. Why? That's pretty cool. Very cool, actually. The visualizations are just incredible that Tesla does. The wheel feels like it fits the size of the car. I mean, it's a little bit of a flat bottom here, and it feels like a better wheel fitted for Model S than Model 3. It's definitely not as sporty as a Model 3 is, but it is nice working it around. And already I'm just loving the inputs here. This is so much better. You can see just naturally using, this is how I drive a lot to make turns. I use, push up along the wheel and kind of shuffle it through my hands, and I do a lot of grabbing like this. Working a wheel is definitely something that can be trained, and it's an art form when it comes to performance driving. And this is just wonderful. It's raising the suspension because of I'm coming back home so I can get it in the driveway. Let's go out to the right here. I guess I got to use my turn signals. Wow, very, very nice. The view is no issue at all. I can hold the wheel nicely like I like to do, which is my elbow here in the center and my hand nicely holding the bottom, and it's not facing the wrong way. It's facing the correct natural orientation. Oh my goodness. Why? The biggest thing I have an issue with is, look, if you like your Yoke better, I don't care. I'm glad you do. For me personally, I think this fits what I'm looking for out of the car much more, and it's going to be so much more fun to drive for me and fun to work around when we're sliding. But there's so many Tesla people out there that think are convinced that the Yoke is better than the round wheel, and I'm sure you'll see some of them in the comments. And I'm a firm believer everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and that's great. I can't agree, but if you like the Yoke, you can buy the Yoke and keep the Yoke. What I really don't understand are when people put the Yoke on a Model 3 or Model Y and say it's better. That makes no sense to me. But again, people are entitled to their opinion. To me, it's so nice just to have a basic round wheel. But what's interesting is the Yoke in the Model S isn't what brought up the steering wheel conversation to me. I've always been a little bit of a steering wheel snob, if you will, perfectionist. And I appreciate different wheels over others. For example, one of the reasons I love, we're going to go to the right here because there's a lot of traffic coming from the left, and look at how I can just shuffle through and push up on the wheel like a normal person. One of the reasons I love the L322 generation Range Rover that I have is, it's an 09, is the steering wheel. There's something just thin and nice about that wheel that fits the character of the car, and it is truly one of the reasons why I love it. Same with the Porsche Taycan. The way that wheel comes out, and it's a very upright angle, and it's still quite big, but it's thin and you can work it, is good. The thing Tesla got right with this wheel is they didn't overly pad it like Lucid, like Mercedes and the EQS. There, I just went for a turn signal. I got to use these stupid, I need stocks. The thing Tesla got right was make this thin and make it so you can actually feel whatever is left to come back from road feedback into your hands, so you can know what's going on with the front wheels. Truly incredible here. Big fan. And the wheel, I saw it for the first time last week in Phoenix in the Tesla showroom, and I thought, well, maybe I'll get lucky and see if they have a Tesla wheel in there, and they did. And I wasn't that impressed with the steering wheel, but now even just using it for the first few miles is so much better than I was imagining it would be. I like the size. I like that it's quite big, and if you like your Yoke, stick with the Yoke. If you're pleased with the Yoke, keep it, because the point of cars is to just be happy and enjoy what you're driving. And for me, this is now making the car so much more enjoyable, and actually leads to me feeling like I'm sitting lower in the car. It's possible I felt awkward in the car with the Yoke because of the sight lines. I didn't feel like I could be sitting in the vehicle and nice and low. And surprisingly, with this wheel, I'm actually feeling like the seating position, to me, got lower because now the steering wheel's all the way up here, so I feel like I can work the car around a little bit more, and maybe my seat being so high is less of an issue now that the wheel comes up a bit higher. Either way, I'm thrilled, and can't thank Tesla enough for having great service. I think the price was reasonable, my opinion, at $750 fully installed. They came here and got to hang out with a Tesla nerd, an EV nerd, for a little bit, which was great. And, hey, there you go. Just a great experience all around. Nice work, Tesla. I think the wheel is designed fit for purpose, and just wish it had stalks and a steering wheel here in the center. I mean, a horn here in the center. So, thanks for watching. I can't wait to go drive my Plaid more. It's got 10,000 miles now. It's about to have 100,000 miles. I love this so much. We'll see you on another video soon. Bye-bye. Actually, it's a few hours since we just made that last clip, and take a look at this. You can see the heated steering wheel icon is now in the car. It did not get any software update, but it did take, I don't know, a couple hours for that configuration change to pop up, but now it shows as a wheel, and it is heated or not heated. Pretty neat. Also, I wonder if in here, yeah, look at that steering wheel. Aha. So they did change that, and I'm still on old software. I did ask for version 11, but they said it's not ready for my car yet, so still not ready for it, sadly.